Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Let's Talk Ghosts. Today, we have a couple of things to talk about. The other day, a couple days ago, as I was scrolling through YouTube, this thing popped up in my timeline. And I've seen this character before. He's not on my to always watch list. Anyway, the channel is called the Angry Cajun TV. And what caught my attention was the title of the program. And it's CJ Faison Caught Red-Handed Faking. Now, for those people who don't remember or know, CJ Faison is this guy who has a farmhouse and he claims it's haunted. He's got an Annabelle doll there that apparently talks to him, and all kinds of stuff happens there. And we've talked about him in the past and said how we believe a lot of it is set up for YouTube, and that I believe he's got several properties, and I think he's trying to use this one as a way to get people interested so they can book investigations and stuff. That's what I think. Anyway, but this guy, apparently he takes great offense to this fella. He says that he's a paranormal investigator himself and has issues.
Yes. Yeah.
So some of the stuff, basically he's saying that there is another person there with CJ, and that's who's making all the noise off camera.
Yeah, you could see that. You see the flashlight, and there's lots of clues and,
There's
keywords that he uses.
Yeah.
Lots of clues and keywords he uses. And
Yeah. And always everything is off camera. You hear it. And for me, I found it, the shuffling and footsteps and stuff were too clear. It was too obvious that it was a flesh and blood person. Yeah. So we've had this discussion before about this guy, and he's talking about how, and what I really thought was funny was he said, he reacted to, again, his reflection in the glass, like he saw his reflection in the window and almost peed himself. He was so scared. And the guy goes, if this was a real ghost investigation, you can damn well bet he would have peed himself and run out the door screaming, because obviously anything unusual scares him. But he's not scared of ghosts in his house.
Yeah. But, like he said also, he hears it and doesn't go to it.
Yeah. And we said the same thing. You're hearing noises. Why aren't you investigating it then? But he's not. Yeah. He still has that casket in his dining room, which I find hilarious. And that's there for a reason.
Yeah.
It's there for effect and everything. So, I mean, we know that CJ has faked this. In fact, I think I read somewhere where something about that he's a YouTube entertainer or something like that, which would make complete sense. And for people to believe that this is real is just dumb. But anyway, the presenter, whatever his name is, the Angry Cajun, he like I said, I've seen his stuff before. I don't really watch him a lot. I just don't like the presentation. He sighs a lot, rolls his eyes, and to me, that's just a couple of sighs here and there. Yeah, okay, for effect. But it just seemed like he was making content to make content. And his heart really wasn't in it, I don't think. No. In the beginning, he says that, he hasn't made a video in a long time. Hasn't been in ghost hunting. Yeah, and so he saw this and it just really pissed him off and he needed to say something. Okay, maybe that's true. I mean, he obviously has people that watch him. He's got several thousand followers. This video alone, I mean, it was 2 days ago now, and it's only got 2.3 thousand views, which in the realm of videos is not a lot of views. I mean, this one video that you watched on Beardo about Sam and Colby, 5 days ago, it's got 15,000 views. So that's just, an example. So, I mean, he's not like a great big channel.
Yeah.
I also didn't like the vaping
No.
while he's talking. I found that very unprofessional. I know that some people do. I don't like it. I think if you're going to make stuff for public consumption, you should be cognizant of what you're doing. And I didn't like that. So there was things about that I wasn't.
Yeah, it's like smoking an
I'm
investigation. There's certain things you just don't do.
Yeah. Now, that being said, I agreed with a lot of his comments. Like I said, I didn't like the presentation of them, but he was absolutely spot on with a lot of the stuff. I just didn't like, the heavy sighing all the time. No, I wasn't fond of it. But would I watch him again? If there was a topic I was interested, yes, I would. So anyway, if anybody happens to watch the Angry Cajun, then I'm not saying that you shouldn't, because he has valid points.
Yeah.
It's not one of the more professional channels that I've seen yet, anyways.
And he calls it the fakers,
Yeah. Yeah, and there's not a darn thing wrong with that. I think that's what you should be doing, right? So
I was going to say with CJ, it wouldn't hurt his channel to say, for entertainment purposes only,
Yeah, that would be good if he did that.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
you don't take it as gospel, because it's not. It's really
You're not misleading.
Yeah. Just like that really haunted guy. Speaking of really haunted, I watched the side-eye guy dissect one of his videos yesterday too. And oh my gosh, he actually pointed out a few things where he actually could see somebody, well, vaguely, but you could see that there was somebody else there helping with the movement of his chair and a few other things. It was really kind of funny.
Yeah.
He very much does not like that guy because he says that he's a faker, and we all know that Lee's a faker. And that's another one of those channels that should be for entertainment purposes only. So, yeah. But anyway.
I agree. I
Huh?
agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. I mean, if half of that stuff happened in a house you were in and you caught it on camera, holy God.
Yeah.
Just like CJ, if half of that stuff happened, the Angry Cajun guy made a comment about CJ and said, if this house was that haunted, it would be swarming with scientists. Well, I wouldn't say scientists so much. It would be swarming with paranormal investigators. Just all of them. Like the big name people and everybody would be there. They'd be paying big bucks to go and investigate, but they're not. And to me, that's telling right there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like the Conjuring house.
Mm-hmm.
Like the woman who owned it after the parents never had
Norma
a
Sutcliffe.
stitch of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Not a thing happened in her house.
Yeah.
When she was there.
Yeah. It was just a nice little old farmhouse. Yeah. It wasn't until that movie came out that she ended up selling it because it was just too problematic with people coming around all the time.
Yeah.
That's why she sold it.
Or she wouldn't have sold it. Yeah.
Yeah, probably would have stayed there. I mean, I would have. Nice little house in the country. I mean, nice place. Great little old farmhouse out in the country. Nobody around to bother you. I mean, lots of space. Oh, geez, yeah, heaven. Yeah. Anyway, the other thing that we watched last night was the first, well, you saw two, but I saw the first episode of Destinations of the Damned with Zac Bagans. This is his new series on Discovery and Hulu and a few other places. There's 5 episodes and they all dropped yesterday. The first one, episode 1, is called Buried Alive. And it's about the
Yeah.
haunted town of Armero in Brazil. Is it Brazil?
Yeah.
Or Colombia?
Yeah. Colombia.
Yeah. Yeah, Colombia. Yeah, because it's called a cursed Colombian town. Yeah. Okay, Armero. Now, what happened to this place was, I think, from what I could tell, November 13th, 1985, a volcano erupted. And not only, it wasn't volcanic material that came down, like in, Pompeii and stuff. It was the mudslides and everything that came with it.
Yeah.
Decimated the town. 23,000 people were killed, didn't get out, and it was pretty bad. And so now people are saying that it's cursed. It's cursed.
Well, no people,
No,
you
it is people that are saying it, and they're saying it because
Yeah.
40 years ago, 40 years before this eruption, a priest was murdered. And now I missed why he was murdered, but he was murdered on the outskirts of Armero. And he
hmm
apparently laid a curse on the town, supposedly, or something like that.
The
And so
priests always do that.
yeah, it took 40 years. Yeah, they don't usually, lay curses, right? Aren't they usually like, I forgive you for doing this, because they're
Yes. Yeah.
wonderful people. Anyway, it took 40 years for the curse to make that volcano erupt and for all this to happen. Anyway,
Yes.
the first bunch of, I don't know, 20 minutes or so, or 30 minutes, first half of it was all this history of the town and what happened and everything. And I thought that was very
hmm
well done. Zac is not on site. He sends
Yeah.
his team. Now, his team isn't the same team that we're used to. I think
Yeah.
they're just some production people. We never really see
Yeah.
the team. I mean, the first 11 minutes in, he keeps referring to my team,
Yeah.
but we are never introduced to them. We never see them.
And he
So,
does it with the next team of
yeah, and my understanding is
investigators
he does
too.
this through all of them. He is just presenting this. So he has people go in to do whatever they do, and he's creating a documentary. That's all. There isn't a big
Yeah.
ghost
And,
investigation. Um,
yeah. I found it awfully dry,
uh-huh.
to be honest,
Yeah.
and sad. You know, who needs to see a little girl dying? You
Oh
know,
my God, yes. The one in
it's
the water?
it was
Oh,
yeah,
yeah, that was
and it was.
awful.
I thought it was.
Tasteless.
I at that point I thought, well, you watching it,
Mm.
any parent
Hmm.
would be heartbroken to see
Yeah.
that, and
Yeah. Yeah. For people who
and
haven't seen it yet, as part of the history, they're showing how, I mean, they have a lot of stuff that's blurred out. You can't see the bodies as people are pulling people
yeah,
out, which is good. So you're seeing
yeah,
actual footage. But one of the things they show is this young girl, probably 8 or 9 years old, maybe a little
yeah,
older, 9 or 10.
yeah,
Anyway, she's kind of in a mud hole with water up to her chest, and they say that she's stuck, and they can't get her out. And the only way they could get her out would be to amputate her legs because she's stuck under something or pinned under
yeah,
something,
and
and
they didn't have the
they don't have the equipment to do that. So for
yeah,
3 days they have her there. She's talking, and at one point she's praying, and she's saying, if you talk to my mom and dad, um, tell them I'm hoping that I get out of this okay, and I'm going to see them again. Blah blah blah. And then it
yeah,
cuts away to, it says, 3 days later she's died. So we don't
yeah, but
see her dying, fortunately,
in the
but
meantime,
yeah.
he says her eyes went black, and a
Yeah, like come
demon took
on.
her.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
come on,
trying to blame it on the
stop that.
curse, other than the fact that she's
Yeah,
pinned, probably bleeding,
yeah,
and
yeah,
exposure and everything. She's gonna die. It's really
yeah,
sad. It is
yeah,
very sad.
yeah.
But they keep
So
saying that the locals now, South Americans are it's a very much a Catholic kind of place, and they're very,
curse driven.
Yeah, it's all supernatural stuff. They're very, very much
Yeah.
concerned about that sort of thing. And so they believe a lot of stuff that you kind of wonder why, but that's them. That's their
Yeah.
nature. So they believe that this town
Yeah.
now is haunted because of all the people that have died. They talk about demons, this curse. They think there are spirits trapping people, in the town. And one of the things they
Yeah.
show is the cemetery. And they have some survivors that actually they run into them, I guess, and they're going to the cemetery to take care of their family's graves. I don't know if these are graves
Yeah.
from people that died during that event or after. I think a little bit of both. And, it was nice.
Yeah.
The cemetery looked familiar. I'm wondering if we've seen that before on another ghost hunting show.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
either. I mean, I know that there's
It's
one in
something.
South America that was pretty scary, but I don't know if this is the one. So one of the things that I thought of is, everybody goes on about this town being cursed, but obviously people come quite regularly to take care of their families' graves. And for
Yeah.
those people who were not found, what they
Hmm.
have, what's on the remains of their house, they have put their names and the date of the event and everything. So it's kind of like a memorial there. And they
Yeah.
go and they lay flowers and they just basically treat the house like it's a big memorial site, which is,
Yeah.
I mean, what else do? You have no bodies. They're buried under.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
to get the magnitude of how much silt and stuff came down from the mountain, the hospital, which is on the outskirts of town, it's of course now abandoned, was I don't know how 5 or 6 stories or something, but the fourth floor is at ground level now because the other layers are all buried in soot
Yeah.
and silt. So there are people probably that died inside that hospital, which
Oh
is
yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
awful. Yeah.
Yeah.
So human remains everywhere in this place. And even at the
Yeah.
cemetery, they say that they're like grave robbers, um, not just grave robbers, I guess, but people that are breaking and smashing into the mausoleums and stuff to get the bones to do rituals. I don't know if that's true, but I
Yeah.
wouldn't be surprised because people are crazy,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. But you literally saw images like as they're panning through bones everywhere. Then they bring in a local medium
No.
and a local
Yeah.
paranormal investigator. So Aida and what was his name? I forget. I didn't write it down. Anyway, she she's going to go through the hospital and everything. And her and this paranormal investigator, local people, to me, this was supposed to be the investigation, I guess, or whatever. To me, it was just a walkthrough
Yeah.
with a medium who is questionable whether she's a medium because it was quite pointless. It really was
Yeah.
pointless.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, the guy, the investigators walking around with dowsing rods.
yeah.
Now,
Well, they work.
it's a piece of equipment.
Yeah.
They work. The woman says there's nothing here or something, and
And then
the
suddenly there is.
dowsing rods open up. Yeah,
Yeah, and
and
then there's it's a
you
dark,
know,
dark, oppressive feeling. Well, you're in the dark. It's probably scary, and there are bats
yeah.
everywhere. But she's
Mm,
convinced
mm,
there are forces there. And at one point, she breaks down
yeah,
and oh, my energy is draining. Well, I just don't believe how
yeah,
much of a medium or psychic she is. I'm not buying it. It to me, it looked
yeah, yeah.
awfully fake. You know,
Convenient.
I didn't like it. So by the time this was all over, again, you end up, Zach is he's the narrator for the whole thing. So it's his voice. Yay.
Yeah,
Um, so at the very end, as the credits are rolling, the one thing that I noticed that struck out to me was the tech coordinator for this program, Jay Wasley. He's the only one from Ghost Fiction.
yeah,
So
yeah.
as far as the documentary goes, it was okay. I don't mind it. I mean, I don't mind this kind of thing. I'm interested in
I,
his
I,
story.
I thought it was dry, and the next one I didn't even finish because it
Mm,
was so
yeah.
dry.
I'll probably watch them
Yeah.
simply for the historical aspect and the locations because I like that kind of thing. And you're not as big on it as I am. This program a
Oh,
little bit reminded me of what was that one that he was going to do a series of in Europe, and he did one where he went into the catacombs. I forget what that was called.
oh
But
yeah.
this is what it reminds me of.
Uh, yeah.
Yeah. Now,
Yeah.
lots of people
Yeah.
talking about
Yeah.
this now because, of course, it's new. I did watch the Sneezing Monkey, whom I kind of enjoy. He's a German guy that does a lot of paranormal discussions, I guess. And he says this show sucks.
Right.
Now he watched the first
Yeah.
episode and the fourth episode because the fourth episode is called Nazi's Portals to Hell. And he says being German, he's just obligated to anything that says Nazi. He's got to watch it. And he said that he didn't like it. It was a documentary type series. He says people want to see ghost adventures. They want to see a ghost investigation. And he's
Yeah.
right. He said he
Not
said that he
somebody.
yeah. So he went in saying that the Reddit community had absolutely they were not happy with this. And so he made a few comments about what some people on Reddit were saying. So I went to the Ghost Adventures subreddit on Reddit, and I'm just going to read you a couple of comments. For the Spank
Okay.
Dank 96 says, underwhelming first episode. Cool concept, but I think it could be better. Zach's storytelling almost put me to sleep. I would probably have liked it more if it didn't come on at 11 p.m. I hope House Calls comes back for season 3. It's not a regular Ghost Adventure, but at least it's something that feels familiar.
Yeah.
And then somebody else says, Interstellar is badass, says, it was a great narration for falling asleep to. I'm very well rested. Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody
You
says,
know,
I'm not, Sukhoi Exodus says, I'm not impressed. I thought we were going to get some kind of investigation. Once I saw that it went past 50 minutes, I knew it was clipped.
yeah.
Yeah. And then, this one was really good. Somebody called Coyotes said, I'm glad to see the locations from around the world and their presentations, although I guess I expected more. I thought there'd be like a legitimate, proper investigation conducted like we see in Ghost Adventures, but it was more just talking about the history and purported claims with a little walkthrough. Part of the problem I find is Zach talks about credibility and reputation in the Ghost Adventures intro, but then presents the show with an unnamed film crew. And he says, but I did see Lauren and interviewing people in the paranormal side who we simply don't know. In the second episode, the unnamed woman at the abandoned mansion in Malaysia is likely just an actress putting on a show. How is any of this credible?
Exactly.
Especially if
It's
you're
not.
especially if you're investigating some haunted locations around the world where's the evidence to back it up? He goes on to
Yeah.
say, I also rolled my eyes with the first episode because you have a legitimate natural disaster that killed 23,000 people in a horrific way, along with the story of a murdered priest who cursed the town with his dying breath. Okay, that's interesting to me. Then they go to the abandoned hospital and it's like, oh yeah, there's a demon here. Where's the effing ghosts of the thousands of people who died? I was hoping for some EVPs of some
Yeah.
of the poor lost souls, but nope, demon alert. Time to vamoose.
Yeah.
There's some evil ghouls afoot. I'm not surprised. It's just disappointing. Wow. Somebody else says, his name is I've Lived to Regret, says, WTF, the episode was not bad for what it was, a documentary. What was most upsetting to me is how Zach referred to the people investigating as my crew. Are you shitting me? His crew is Aaron, Billy, and Jay, not whomever he hires temporarily for a single episode. Ooh. While I
Yeah.
thought the first episode was intriguing, I also thought it was laborious in how it exploited the people while calling in psychics who revealed absolutely nothing. Ay,
Didn't we say that?
yep, yep. So, but this is not a lot of good quotes here. Nobody was happy. Shaq3 the Disease says first episode was boring and surprisingly short in regard to the actual investigation. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm Tiffish24 says I'm 8 minutes in and hoping the crew will get introduced. I thought I saw Lauren for a second, but not positive. Well, we were 11 minutes in, doing the same thing, wondering where the heck are we going to meet the crew? Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's one, Chilibert LaRouche says, my mom and I liked it. It's just a documentary with dark undertones, narrated by Zac Bagans. Yeah, and that's okay. So.
Well, you have to really like Zach's voice.
Yeah.
And I'm not a fan of
I'm not
his.
big
So,
on the voice. I'm not big on the writing of the narration, and we know that Zac wrote it. You can tell.
yeah. Oh,
And
yeah, you can't tell. Oh, demon.
yeah.
Demon.
Oh,
You know,
geez. Yeah. Oh,
put
demon.
off with the demons already.
I mean, like that one person says, this horrific amount of people died here. If there are spirits around, those are
Yeah,
the spirits you're going to run into. Why didn't they even try to make contact with any of those? You know?
exactly.
Yeah.
You know,
So,
I was disappointed in that. I was disappointed. I was just myself. I tried to watch the second one,
mhm.
and by the middle of it, I shut it off. I'm being honest. I
Yeah.
turned it
Yeah.
off because my brain said enough of this.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not a I'm not a big Zac Bagans fan. Like I said, as far as documentaries go, this was okay. I like the history part of it. However, the quote that he talks about the murdered priest, he kept saying, no stone will be left upon a stone in the town of Ramiro. That's not the actual quote. And he repeated that over and over and over. The actual quote is, no stone will be left upon my tomb in the town of Amaro.
Yeah.
And that quote makes more sense, except he
Well,
repeated
yeah.
that his piece over and over and over and over. He wasn't cursing the town.
Yeah.
He wasn't cursing the town.
No. And Zach, and that's a famous Zach Bagan
Yeah.
thing. He is the worst one for taking stuff and blowing it out of context.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Mumsky says, no real investigation. Honestly, just walking around, not impressed. Yeah. It's hard pressed to find anybody in this subreddit who liked it, who really liked it. So I don't think it's a hit for Zac, except for those. And these are people that like Ghost Adventures generally.
They're diehard fans.
So there are 5 episodes. Will there be more? I doubt it.
No.
I don't think there's enough interest unless he brings his own crew along to do some investigating.
But he's not going to do that because he won't get on the plane.
Well, he doesn't do it for ghost house calls either. I mean, he could still do the narration stuff, but have his real crew, actually doing some investigating. That would be more interesting. But then he has to pay them.
Share the glory and all that stuff.
Not just that, he has to pay them. Whereas this crew that you don't really see, they're just production people to tape stuff. He's not probably paying them that much. Whatever camera people get paid and, whatever, as well as the costs of going, sure. But if his team, if Aaron and Billy and Jay went, he'd be paying them because I don't think they'd do it for free.
No.
I wouldn't.
I wouldn't.
I mean, especially when you think of how dangerous some of the woods in Colombia can be, the jungles of Colombia. Not a safe place to be. Yeah.
And then you can't touch certain things, and there's
Mm-hmm.
vipers.
She took the snails out at the very beginning. She says, "Don't touch that snail; it's poisonous.
Yeah,
It'll give you parasite. That'll give you a brain infection. That'll kill you." Oh, good. That's just like Australia. There's nothing safe in Australia. Well, in Colombia, there's nothing safe in Colombia.
no,
Yeah. So far, the Ghost Adventures is not being this Destinations of the Damned is not being very well received. At last check,
no,
on the IMDb database, the rating for this program is 5.1 out of 10. So just a smidge over 50% of the people that watched it liked it. That's not very good odds.
yeah,
Not very good odds. But, I guess we'll see if it goes on beyond a second season. I don't think so. That's my
I
prediction. This
don't
will
think
be it. Just 5 episodes. People they want to see the Ghost Adventures crew.
so.
It's not just about Zac Bagans.
I
He's
don't.
just narrating it.
I don't want to see the growth.
I know, but that's what their fans want to see, right? The fans want to see the GA crew. Anyways, folks, what do
Dude,
you think?
bro,
What? What?
dude, bro, David, murder.
Yeah, we'll have to watch
Thank
some of
you,
you.
Beardo.
Yeah, Beardo's funny for that. Anyways,
Yeah,
folks, that's what we thought today. If you'd like to leave a comment, we would love to hear what you think. If you watched any of the episodes of Destinations of the Dam, what do you think? Leave us a message, let us
yes,
know. So, have a great day wherever you are in this great wide world. We're off to watch some wrestling this afternoon. Take care,
happy
everybody.
hunting.
Happy hunting. Bye now.